Hello there and welcome back to another War Thunder review, or replay review. This one was sent to me by Vapourised Tiger, as you probably could tell by the thumbnail. And this specific one features the 105 M4 Sherman. 105 because of the cannon. It's an American 2.7 tank with, as I already said, a 105mm cannon and very notably a 12.7mm Browning MG. Its canon is questionable, I would say. Like, its MG has more penetration than its HE shell, and this, well, is heat. Alternatively, it has a smoke shell, it has a very slow reload. However, being on 2.7, it has absolutely incredible armor. As you can see here, just from directly looking at the front of it, no angles or anything. It has an effective upper front plate armor of between 85 to 90 millimeters. And it's not getting thinner down here. In fact, this is pretty much not penetratable. And the same goes for the turret. It's very, very strong because it also lacks the weak spot the later Sherman, M4 Shermans have with the round turret. They have around here this area. This is actually very useful now to fight Shermans in lower BRs. They have this small armor plate here. You don't see a distinction from the outside. You just have to kind of know where it is. It's in this area. It's about as thick usually as the side armor on this turret, so you can relatively easily shoot through it. This is not the case for this one. As you can see, it has about 100 millimeters effectively of turret armor. In many places, nowhere really below 90 millimeters. So it is really, really difficult to penetrate for a lot of tanks. Funnily enough, the MG spot here looks like a weak spot at first, only being 30 millimeters. However, you're very unlikely to actually penetrate here. Not sure why that is. Because this example would be a weak spot for the Jumbo. This, however, does not count for the 105 Sherman in my experience. Its side armor is relatively thin on the turret as well as on the hull, although especially the hull can be penetrated by most AAs. Same goes for the back. It is just barely, well, it is good enough to pretty much, protect yourself from literally any MG, which is not something all medium tanks at this BR have. It is reasonably mobile, but it isn't anywhere near fast actually. Its turret moves also fairly slowly with 3.6 degrees per second, so it barely moves at all. And while the cannon does have a lot of boom, it reloads extremely long, especially considering this BR. And oftentimes it actually just doesn't kill, right? So the MG is actually more effective than the cannon, it seems. As you can see, I haven't researched it myself, I never played one, but I've encountered them a lot. So this is generally a fairly impressive replay we are going to watch, because they managed to actually get 15 kills in it, with a lot of funny coincidence, I would say. It's hard to explain, you're going to see it in a second. And here we are in the replay. As you can see, we are on cargo port. Normal point constellation, so ABC. He started on the left side and goes down this road. As you can see in there, he spots the BT7 in a second. Yep, here. And I believe he doesn't actually land a hit, however, as I've pointed out, the MG is very good, so he simply knocks out the crew of the BT7 with that, as the BT7 essentially has no armor. This is something we will see a lot. It's the funny thing that I call the coincidence. It's not really a coincidence, it's more so... I'm not sure how to put it really. It's like half the kills actually are just made with the MG. And here you will see a bunch of very poor shots actually. He's trying to hit the T28 over there, as you can see. And here you can also see the extremely long reload I talked about. Here he lands a fairly poor hit again, but at least this time a hit. I believe, yeah, he's using the heat rounds. What I find interesting is that he's carrying both the heat and the HE apparently, unless this loadout is shown wrong. Here he actually seems to load the HE, continues to go down, the T-28 escape, and here he spots the BT-7M that is behind that corner. BT-7M obviously bounces, because it is physically impossible in this angle for it to penetrate him, and he takes him out of the HE round. Because, well, the heat is very unreliable. Here, as you could already see because of the markers, there's the Panzer III. He now turns around because he sees him as well. However, shooting with HE, he first takes out the fences. First time watching it, I didn't really understand what he was going to do here. However, he shot the cupola of the Panzer III in the hopes that the HE explodes when it flies against it, and that the fragmentation goes down into the turret. That obviously didn't work out, as you can see, so he switched to heat and shot him. He will now continue to go down this road again, because while there isn't anything left technically, there's the Su-76, however he does not have a clear line of sight on it. And here again he finds another BT and takes it out with his MG. As I said, this is a trend that's kind of going through the video. Very good tank, very bad cannon. But it's evaluated heavily by the MG. So, which was recently buffed, by the way. I believe it now has 31mm of penetration, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe he did see that Su-76 and starts hunting it down. Yeah, I believe he did see it, so he's trying to chase it down here. Yep, as you can see, he is turning the turret, so I think he has seen it, right? Oh, actually not. That was a mistake on my side, that just, you know, kinda looked like he could have seen it. But he actually goes for the T-126 or T-126. It's essentially a T-50 without the stupid cupola and more armor. It's actually an incredibly nice vehicle, because you have actually better armor than a T-34, but you're at 2.7. Up to 45mm, fairly mobile. Here he takes it out with the HE, hitting the ammunition. That could have taken a lot longer, to be honest, with the unreliability of heat. And we are already at 5 kills. I believe 3 of those were with the MG actually. So 3 of 5 so far were MG kills. Which, even though the 50 cal of the Americans is by far the strongest, also the 4070 is going to die. MG we have in the game, yep, as I said, just completely blown away. T-70s etc. are very fragile because they only have 3 crew members, very compact, and he's going to slaughter a child here. I don't know exactly why the T-26 decided it's a good idea to be a T-26, because, yeah, he's getting shredded by the MG as well. Because the T-26 already isn't a good tank at its own BR. So that's something I would never do. I would never bring a T-26 to higher BRs, not even because it's funny, it's just you have much better choices. You're honestly better off taking a BT-5 to 7.0 than you are taking a T-26 to 2.7. Or taking a T-26 actually anyway, to be honest. It's a nice vehicle. I think it looks nice, it's kinda cool, it's fun to play, but it's definitely not good. Here he engages the T-28, as you can see. The 38 model, if I'm not mistaken, it's the one with the garbage cannon that can't actually penetrate anything. And here he actually blows it up. So the T-28 was physically incapable of killing him. Assuming I'm correct and it's the 1.31. In that case, it was literally impossible for it to do anything. I think here he also spotted the GIZ now. Yeah. Also, it's funny how this is also shown to us here in replay. I'm not actually sure what he is supposed to repair, to be honest. I mean, the track is yellow, but that wouldn't be anything he would repair, right? Maybe it's the optics? I'm honestly a bit beaten on this. As you can see, he's pretty much at the spawn here, which just kinda happens when you just drive forward, right? So technically, you could of course say this is spawn camping. Here the BT-7 tries to, well, shoot at him, obviously that doesn't work. And instead of using his mobility, he just kinda sits there. This one runs against the container and kills himself. Essentially, so those two in my book just committed suicide. I wouldn't even say because spawn camping. Here I'm not sure why he didn't turn his hull. Maybe he didn't notice the BT-7 coming around here. But yeah, his turret is taken out now. As you can see, we are already at 12 kills, so 3 more. Here the AA makes the mistake of kinda just going in front of him. And it crashes into the barriers here as well. It could have maybe gotten around him, but to be honest, this GIZ only has the 8mm Maxim IMGs, I believe. So it would have been much better off just going into the opposite direction. Here planes race him, but that doesn't really do anything. The BT actually survived the first hit on with the 50 cards, but also poor positioning and everything. He did hurt the M8 though. As you can see, the Vapourised Tiger is trying to get out of this because, well, it's obviously a poor position. And if the BTs actually didn't, or at least half of them didn't just commit suicide, they could have easily swarmed him. I mean, one of them got very close to actually killing him. Did a lot of damage. His breach is still destroyed. Here he's not technically using smoke, which is very rare for War Thunder players to actually, you know, use that sensibly. He smokes up the spawn and the area here and goes into hiding over here to repair his vehicle, if I'm not mistaken. And well, there are some targets in the background, but as you can see, he just doesn't want to be seen. He wants to repair. So he really just came over here for cover. Although he could have probably used this MG to continue culling on the other hand. Testing that would have probably been a poor idea. Interesting note, however, is something that I didn't notice before. The only thing that was actually destroyed in his tank is his breach. I'm not sure if he just had a lot of luck, if he has an ace crew or something like that. I will probably have to count the seconds between shooting or just ask him actually. But as you can see, his gunner, I believe is this, is actually only red with his commander yellow. And and here's another AA with very poor decision making. And this was his final kill. While about 6 of the kills were, I would say, in some sense spawn camping. I think that is not unfair to say. I think he still positioned his tank very well, and as you can see, or you could see throughout, on the map throughout the match, because well, I left it open, the enemy didn't really do anything, so his entire team kind of just drove forward, and at that point you can't really do anything but spawn camp. Or just not do anything, but that is just detrimental to your activity score. It's negatively affecting your everything, actually. And they did have multiple opportunities to take him down. It has to be noted he did have a lot of luck, especially I believe here in the spawn, because they made a lot of mistakes. And he did also have a lot of luck facing primarily the Russians of lower BS that had incredible issues actually penetrating him. And that he wasn't found by any of the Su-76ers because they could have taken him out, I believe. But overall, I think it's fairly well played, and I believe, or at least for me, it was kind of funny to observe because, well, he did take out, what, half the units with his MG. I didn't actually count, but I think at the very least half his kills were actually well, yeah, with his MG, not with the actual cannon. Which is always a bit funny to watch for me, even if it's the Browning that's doing it. But yeah, this is essentially a triple ace because you get an ace when you get 5 kills. So, well, yes, he did get a triple ace in this, which is very remarkable. You can also see that they won at this point. I personally really enjoyed watching this. It was, as I said, really well played. I'm not sure what ever happened to the aircraft that attacked him in between. And here he just now kind of scurries off into the horizon as the match ends. Maybe you could tell me too what you think of this, but as you can see here, This wasn't just him that was steamrolling the enemy. The enemy just kind of collapsed pretty hard. The second best player also got 7 kills, 4 assists, and only 1 death. This doesn't look like this at all for the enemy team. There's one that managed to actually not die at all, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, the second in the enemy team, as example, died 4 times. The first still died 2 times. And so on. So he did have a lot of luck with, I believe, being top BR. And stupid enemies and etc. However, that of course does not negate what he managed to do. 15 kills is a lot in, I believe, any vehicle. And well, tell me in the comments what you thought of watching this. I personally, as I said, already said, enjoyed watching this. And depending on how this and the previous 2 replays did, I may continue doing this series because I personally like watching replays. And well, we will see about that then in the future. Anyways, thank you for watching and goodbye.